They say the strongest foundations can crumble in an instant. For 5 years, I built my life on what I thought was unshakable ground. A relationship so secure, so healthy that it healed all my past wounds. Yesterday, I learned it was built on sand. And now I'm left wondering if the man I loved ever really existed, or if I was just in love with who I wanted him to be. We had everything people search for their whole lives. The deep conversations, the shared dreams, the quiet comfort of knowing you're with your person. We met on a dating app 5 years ago, and from our first date it felt different. There was this immediate spark, an intellectual and emotional connection that felt rare. He was kind, supportive, and seemed to understand me in a way no one else ever had. He encouraged my career, celebrated my wins, and held me through my losses. We built a home together, a life filled with laughter, travel, and mutual respect. We weren't just a couple. We were a team. When marriage first came up a year and a half ago, it felt like the natural, inevitable next step. We spent evenings planning our future, talking about our little house in New Hampshire, the 2 dogs we'd rescue, the life we'd build together away from the city noise. These weren't just my dreams, they were our dreams, or so I believed. He'd be the one bringing it up sometimes, showing me pictures of rings he liked, talking about what kind of wedding he imagined. It all felt so real, so tangible. Our friends and family saw us as the forever couple, the ones who had it all figured out. I believed it too, with every fiber of my being. But recently, I sensed him pulling back whenever marriage came up. The conversations became shorter, his answers more vague. If I mentioned a friend's wedding or a venue I thought was beautiful, he'd get quiet or change the subject. I noticed it, of course, but I chalked it up to stress from his demanding job or maybe just the general anxiety that comes with such a big life decision. I didn't want to be the nagging girlfriend, the one who pressures her partner into a proposal. I wanted him to want it as much as I did, to come to it on his own terms. So I did what I thought was the right thing. I told him I didn't want to pressure him. I sat him down and said, "Hey, I know we've been talking about this a lot, but I want you to know there's no timeline. I'll wait as long as you need. I won't mention it again until you're ready to bring it up." I genuinely thought I was being the most understanding, supportive partner I could be. I thought I was giving him space to breathe and process. Now I realize I was giving him permission to keep hiding his true feelings, to retreat further into a lie that was eating him alive. The breaking point came this past weekend. We spent the day with my stepsister and her fiancé. They're so happy, so openly excited about their wedding and their future. We were all laughing. They were telling us about their plans, and it was a genuinely lovely afternoon. But on the car ride home, he was unusually quiet. The air in the car felt heavy, thick with something unspoken. I tried to start a conversation, asked if he was okay, and he just nodded, his eyes fixed on the road. Later that night, as I was cleaning up in the kitchen, he came to me crying. Not just a few tears, but deep, gut-wrenching sobs. He said watching my stepsister and her fiancé had sent him into a full-blown panic. He confessed that for weeks, he'd been locking himself in his office at work just to cry, overwhelmed by a guilt he couldn't share. And then he said the words that shattered my entire world. "When I said I wanted to marry you, I was lying. I was just telling you what I knew you wanted to hear." My body literally couldn't handle the shock. The moment he said it, a strange heat flooded my body, followed by an intense chill. I spiked a fever almost instantly and spent the entire night sweating and freezing, my hands shaking uncontrollably. It was a physical manifestation of my heart breaking. The man who was my safe space, my rock, the person I trusted more than anyone, had been hiding this massive life-altering secret. The bedrock of my life was suddenly quicksand and I was sinking fast. He packed a bag and left for his mother's house, saying he needed space to figure things out. I haven't seen him since. I don't know if he's coming back. The worst part is the replaying of every memory, every conversation. Was it all a lie? When he held me and told me he couldn't wait to spend his life with me, Was that a performance? When we looked at houses online and dreamed of our future, was he just playing a part? He claims he does love me, that I'm his best friend, but that the thought of marriage fills him with a terror he can't explain. He says he kept lying because he was afraid to lose me, that he thought he could just push through the fear and eventually it would go away. But it didn't. It grew and it festered, and it destroyed us from the inside out. So where does this leave us? Where does this leave me? Was he fundamentally wrong to hide his true feelings for years, building a future he never truly wanted? Leading me on, allowing me to invest my heart, my time, and my dreams into a shared future that, for him, was a work of fiction? Or was I wrong for not seeing the signs, for being so caught up in the dream that I ignored the cracks in the foundation? When does being an understanding partner become willful blindness? This entire situation forces us to ask some incredibly difficult questions about honesty, love, and self-preservation. How much honesty do we owe our partners, especially when the truth could shatter them? And at what point does protecting someone's feelings cross the line into outright deception and betrayal? He said he did it because he loved me and didn't want to hurt me. But this slow, agonizing reveal, this discovery of a years-long lie, is 1,000 times more painful than the truth would have been a year and a half ago. If you're wrestling with where honesty ends and betrayal begins in a relationship, I want you to join this discussion. This story isn't just about my heartbreak. It challenges us all to ask, can a relationship built on unspoken truths ever truly be solid? Weigh the evidence, consider both sides, and deliver your judgment. Subscribe to The Verdict Zone to join the conversation.